The management of acute severe asthma is an important question. So we do have a separate video on the etiopathogenesis, what we got the clinical features, that is the presentation of an asthma, both the signs and symptoms along with the diagnostic methods. In the management, there is a separate video on a long-term management of asthma, whereas the short-term, that is the management of acute severe asthma, is discussed in this video in detail. So what is acute severe asthma? See, there are some exacerbations of asthma. Normally the asthma is under control, but due to some of the factors, let's take an example of a seasonal change, or there will be an infection, a viral infection, which triggers an attack of asthma, or sometimes inhalation of any pollens, okay, pollen grains or molds, okay, they can also lead to an exacerbation of asthma. And even air pollution also is implicated in causation of the asthma. So most of these attacks, whatever we see, they cause deterioration hours to days, okay. But there are sudden onset of these exacerbations, and at that time what we do, when a patient comes with severe breathlessness with wheeze, okay, we classify it as an acute severe asthma. We categorize it based on the peak expiratory flow rate. So we calculate it with the help of a handheld device, peak expiratory flow, and based on the values of the peak expiratory flow, we will be managing the patient. So acute severe asthma is the one where you will see a peak expiratory flow in between what we call, let's take a 30 as an example, 30 to 50% predicted value, okay. So the peak expiratory flow is very low in these patients, and you will see tachypnea, you will see tachycardia, and when you ask the patient to complete sentences in one breath, he will not be able to do that. So if there are all these four features, okay, then it is an acute severe asthma. Let us assume that there is a patient sitting in an emergency in front of you, okay. So you have to when a patient comes, you have to reassure this patient, because whenever the anxiety worsens, anxiety is there, it will worsen the respiratory distress, so he'll be having more and more severe breathlessness attack. Similarly, you have to make the patient sit in an upright posture, okay, and immediately any asthmatic, we have to measure the SpO2 and start oxygen inhalation, and we should try to maintain an oxygen inhalation saturations above 92%, okay. And then parallelly, you also need to look for life-threatening features in these patients. So you have an asthmatic sitting in front of you with an acute attack, and you have to look for life-threatening features. The value less than 33% is a life-threatening feature, the peak expiratory flow, and also saturations less than 92% is also a life-threatening one. And we have to look at a normal or raised PaCO2 value, because raised PaCO2 indicates respiratory acidosis, which is also a life-threatening one, and decreased breath sense. So silent chest. So sometimes what happens, the interns think that when they auscultate an asthmatic, if there is no wheeze, they're happy and they might think that the patient is responding. But even though there is no wheeze, there should be respiratory sound that should be present. Any silent chest is a grave condition. If there is a cyanosis in the body, if the respiratory efforts are coming down, because whenever there is a breathlessness, whenever there is an obstruction, the patient tries to maintain proper oxygen levels by breathing hard, by hyperventilating. If the respiratory effort is coming down, means the CO2 levels are increasing in the blood. So this is one thing. And also bradycardia is one, arrhythmias, hypotension, exhaustion, confusion and coma. So when you see any coma, respiratory arrest, deterioration of ABG or exhaustion, in all these cases what we need to do is, we have to go ahead and do mechanical ventilation. So these are the indications of mechanical ventilation. So when there is an acute severe asthma, just give oxygen inhalation, nurse him in his upright posture, try to relieve the anxiety, okay, by reassurance. Look for the life-threatening features. If there is anything, if there is an indication for ventilation, go ahead and do that. But what are the investigations what we do? We do peak expiratory flow rate, and also we do ABG, which helps you in identifying saturation levels, that is arterial pressure of oxygen, and also the arterial pressure of carbon dioxide can be measured with the help of ABGs. Now it's well and fine that there is a patient and now you have a PER. So how to manage it further? Let's look at the management protocol. Let us say if the PEFR, that is peak expiratory flow rate, okay, the best predicted value, if it is in between 76% to 100%. So we call this as a mild exacerbation. It's a mild disease, so need not worry about this much. Just what you need to do is you have to check the patient has come to you in an OPD or emergency. You have to ask, because most of the times we educate a person if he develops acute severe breathlessness at home to take an inhaled bronchodilator. Immediate salbutamol inhalation should be taken with a meter dose inhaler. Ask the patient, have you taken inhaled bronchodilator? If the patient has taken this inhaled bronchodilator, if it is S, so if the patient has taken it, just observe the patient for next 30 minutes for response. Okay? But if the patient has not taken it, if the answer is no, just give him a nebulization of salbutamol along with the oxygen supply. Just give him a nebulization of salbutamol. So we give salbutamol nebulization in these patients and we'll wait for 60 minutes. So just keep him in a sit-right posture in the emergency department for 60 minutes. And after that, if the PEF values are well maintained and if the patient is doing good, ask him to go home, okay, and just advise him if there is any worsening of symptoms, please come back, continue the usual treatment. But because there is an exacerbation, we have to check for progression of the disease, we have to correct the dosages of the long-term management. So ask him to come back again after 2 days for a general checkup. That's it. This is when we have given the medication. Okay. If the patient has already taken medication, so within 30 minutes, if the patient is improved well, okay, the same thing, you can send him home. That is, if the values are more than 60% of PEF, you can safely send him home, and the same advice should be given in these patients, peak expiratory flow rate. Next thing is, this is just for mild management. Now let us look at the management of what we call a moderate exacerbation. So in this moderate exacerbation, what is the value? The value of PEFR is in between 51% to 75%. So in these cases, when a patient comes to us, the first and foremost thing is just immediately send it an ABG sample. Okay, take an ABG sample along with the management, and also give him a nebulization of, though he has taken the salbutamol dosage at home, but still you have to give him a nebulization dose, and the nebulization is salbutamol. I'm just writing down the dosage here. So what is that? It is, you have to give a salbutamol dosage in these cases, and the dosage of salbutamol is 5 mg. Okay, or we can even give terbutaline in these patients. So we can give terbutaline to these cases. So after giving these medication, we should even continue oxygen, and these cases also require an oral corticosteroids. So if there is a moderate exacerbation, please give oral corticosteroids, arterial blood gas analysis, send in sample, and also nebulization with salbutamol and also terbutaline. The salbutamol dosage is 5 mg or terbutaline dosage is 2.5 mg. Try to remember the basic dosages. If you write it in the exam, there will be more weightage to your answer. And after giving this, wait for the response. Good. So while you are waiting for the response, you wait for 30 minutes on an average. So after waiting for 30 minutes, you can send the patient home if the peak expiratory flow, if it is more than 60%, sorry. If the value is increasing, send him home with the basic recommendations. Okay, but If the patient is not responding, then we call it as severe exacerbation. So in case of severe exacerbation, the values will be in between 0% to 50%. So when you have this value, the PEFR value 0 to 50%, we call this as severe exacerbation. In these patients, yes, we continue the same treatment, the ABG, the nebulized salbutamol. But in these cases, because this is very severe and the patient might be having some confusion and all, the oral prednisolone might not work. So you might need to give IV corticosteroids in these patients, plus the routine treatment. That is what we have done. The ABG we have to give. We also need to give the inhaled corticosteroids. Sorry, not inhaled. Inhaled bronchodilators. So I'm just facing problems with this writing. Okay, we have to give inhaled bronchodilators in these patients, usual like the moderate management. Inhaled bronchodilators are also given in these cases. Along with this, the severe asthmatics, the acute severe asthma requires an IV access because we are giving IV corticosteroids. So we have to provide an IV access to these patients, and we have to maintain a high oxygen flow rate. And also along with the ABG, we might need to do chest X-ray because in severe cases, we may never know. This can be because of a spontaneous pneumothorax developing in asthmatics. So we have to rule out even the spontaneous pneumothorax also. So doing a chest X-ray will help you in diagnosing that. This is one aspect in management of acute severe asthma in very severe cases. And you also need to measure potassium values because sometimes you might need to correct the potassium values. Okay, because sometimes to correct severe asthma we'll be giving a repeated doses of salbutamol, and we all know that the salbutamol might cause hypokalemia. So this hypokalemia needs to be corrected in severe cases. So you need to measure the serum potassium values. So these are the few things which you should be cautious when you're doing, when you're managing a severe stuff. So the management is simple as we discussed. First we started with inhaled bronchodilators. We continue the dosage. If the patient doesn't respond, we can add ipratropium bromide to the salbutamol. So usually we use salbutamol, but these cases can be managed by adding ipratropium bromide, which might give a good response in these patients along with the salbutamol inhalation. So this ipratropium bromide, the dosage is 500 micrograms. It is given through oxygen driven nebulizer. And if the patient doesn't respond, you can give continuous salbutamol nebulization. Okay, and even after that, even after giving inhaled corticosteroids or IV corticosteroids, if the patient doesn't respond, we are left with more options, that is managing him with IV MgSO4. See, IV magnesium sulfate has a property of bronchodilation. Okay, so if it is given in a dosage of 1.2 to 2.0 gram, and if it is infused over 20 minutes, the patient might respond. But there is also other chance. We can even inject IV aminophylline injections, derifylline injections, okay, or aminophylline infusion. They also cause bronchodilation, and it is given in both loading dose, which is 5 mg per kg loading dose of aminophylline, which is followed by LD is loading dose, okay, which is followed by a maintenance dose of 1 mg per kg per hour. In severe cases, if the patient is not responding, we can do this loading dose and continuous dose or CD. And as I told you, these are the treatment options available for acute severe asthma. The logic is simple in the management protocol. I'm just recapping it again. When you're managing acute severe asthma, this is because of exacerbation. Measuring PEFR, supplying oxygen, looking for the signs of respiratory failure which requires assisted ventilation. Okay, and also when you start management protocol, upright posture is must. You have to reassure the patient, and based on the value 76% to 100%, it's a mild, just inhaled bronchodilators will work. In moderate cases, you have to nebulize, you have to measure ABG, and you have to look for the progression or deterioration of the disease, and you can try oral corticosteroids. But in severe cases, only inhaled corticosteroids will work. You can continuously give bronchodilators, but it can cause hypokalemia, so make sure that you supplement potassium in these patients because it can cause arrhythmias. And also apratropium bromide has a role. In severe cases, if the IV corticosteroids are also not responding, you can use IV MgSO4 or IV aminophylline. Even if there is no response and if the patient is deteriorating, the last